What's going on, guys? So today we are inside of my 2021 Coachman Brookstone 398 MBL, and we are looking at a very cool product. Now, big disclaimer here, this company Aquibear provided this to me for review and evaluation. I don't even think it's for sale yet, so I don't really have the opportunity to do a bunch of research into how it's constructed or other things like this. This is essentially a first impression view of this really cool product. And what is it? Well, this is a Countertop Reverse Osmosis water purification system. You heard me right. Typically when you think reverse osmosis, you think of a system that has a lot of components underneath the sink, and then you have to drill a hole on your countertop with a little spout so you can fill it up with fresh drinking water. This kind of changes that whole equation. I have seen countertop reverse osmosis systems, but I've never seen one in such a compact form with the flexibility that this has. So we're going to take a deeper look at this today. Hang tight, I'll be right back. Okay, so let's take a look at the outside of this unit. I currently have the lid off of the water reservoir back here. This is essentially the water that you put into it from the sink. This is going to be where the purified water ends up, and then this will dispense water once it's complete, but it also is used to dispense the water that will go to waste, because when you're dealing with reverse osmosis, a certain amount of that water is actually going to be thrown out. I believe it's usually about 1-to-1 in terms of ratio. Now, from a cosmetic perspective, it looks really nice. It looks very sleek and stylish, something you could definitely put on your countertop in your RV or your home and not be afraid to showcase as kind of a really cool piece of appliance on the countertop. It uses about 1600 watts, so it's definitely not a low drawing appliance, and you want to be aware of that, especially if you're using it with like a solar system in your RV. If you have it connected in your home, you shouldn't have any problem at all. I love how this spout can either be positioned this way or you can rotate it this way, so that's also really nice, and it just gives you a little bit more flexibility in terms of where you can place the unit. In terms of price, I do not know what this is going to go for because it is not currently released for sale on the market. Actually, I couldn't find anybody else who's reviewed one of these, and I wanted to kind of take the opportunity to show something a little bit different, but I definitely can't speak to its long-term reliability, and I really can't speak to any other reviews because I haven't seen any. This is the only one, and typically I would only show you guys stuff that I've reviewed, but because of how curious I was about this reverse osmosis countertop system, I just wanted to go ahead and be one of the first to show it to you. So again, just be aware that I haven't had a chance to do a long-term evaluation of this product. I have tinkered with it a little bit, and to be honest with you, it's a bit more confusing than most appliances like this that you might see, because there's a process before you get any of the water. I guess it's kind of the same as making a really complex cup of coffee where you add all sorts of stuff to it. You have to understand what's happening, especially from a waste perspective, what water is coming out as waste and what you have to throw away, and then how to read these icons. The majority of the icons, as far as what you can select, aren't selectable until it's completed the process of cleaning water, and you go through 3 waste cycles before you do that. So very cool. Let's go ahead and get started. So what I've done is I've filled the reservoir up to its max line right here, and the first step you want to do after you've done that is to press this little button right there. It's like a little recycle button. Now what's going to happen here, and this can take a little bit of time, is this is going to fill up down here, and then you see the light right here indicating it's going through a cycle. When the light appears above this right here, it means I need to refill this canister. So right now it's only appearing above this little recycle emblem, but once it appears above this emblem right here, we'll come back, I'll refill this canister, and then this should start actually putting out the water that I need to throw away as waste. So I'll be right back. And you can actually see this canister, which contains your purified water, filling up as it comes out from here. This is going to take a little while too. So again, once this indicator moves to here, I'll know that I have to refill this, and I'm going to empty it out and then just refill it back to the max line. So while it's going through this process, a comment you might be making is, well, how long does this take? So far it's taking about 3 minutes to get to where it's at right now, and it probably will end up taking about, I guess, maybe 15 minutes to be completely done. Hopefully it takes less than that, but we'll see. And some people might say, is it worth it? Well, if you want reverse osmosis purified water, then it's worth it, right? If you have the system under your sink with all the different containers, all the different filters and everything else, You just typically don't see this process because it's hidden, it's out of sight, and you set it, forget it, walk away, come back to it, and it's already taken care of. And because it has a constant water source feeding it, you're not seeing this process of having to fill up a container and then go through this. This is essentially one of those things that if you want this container to be full of purified water, you're going to have to come back to the machine 3 times to refill this canister, this reservoir here, for this to fill up completely. But, you know, it's kind of one of those things you deal with if you want a countertop version of a reverse osmosis water system all in one, to where you don't have to essentially have a plumber come in and plumb it in place. In an RV, I think the convenience factor of something like this is going to outweigh the process. And again, there is a process, so just keep that in mind. And that's probably the single biggest deterrent I would have with this. Everything looks really good, but it's a process, and it's not one of those things where you just pour water in here, come back 3 minutes later, and you have a whole thing of purified water. I guess the process of purifying water through reverse osmosis is a relatively complex process, and to be able to do the whole thing in this one little, you know, area, or this one little footprint of a machine is pretty impressive. Again, you have to weigh the pros against the cons, and if this is something that you still want, it's because you've, you know, definitely seen more positives than negatives. Okay, so now we're going on about 7 minutes. So we're 7 minutes in, and this is still the first cycle, so it hasn't popped up the light to replace this yet, and the canister is almost completely full. Okay, so it just started releasing water. This is the water that's going to be going to waste. I'm going to get another bowl ready, just in case this fills up completely. Okay, so I'm on to my second bowl. I've already emptied one of these out. It's draining. Again, it goes through 3 cycles before it's ready. So this is the first cycle still that we're on. Okay, so that is 1 cycle that we've completed. Okay, now that we're ready for the second cycle, I'm gonna press that button. It's gonna go through the same process all over again. And then we'll be throwing out the water that it fills up after it completes this cycle. The good thing about all this is it's pretty self-explanatory, right? You put water in here, you let it flush itself out, you keep doing that until the rest of these lights appear, and then you're ready to go. It's just this initial process that takes a while. Okay, so this is now the second round that we're going through. It's gonna drain this completely. I got a much bigger container this go around, so I don't have to keep dumping out bowls. And then once it drains all this, I'll have 1 more round, and then I'll be ready to go. So yeah, it's a bit of a process. It takes a little bit of time, but we're knocking it out. And again, really the only thing you need to do is fill this up 3 times, let it drain 3 times, and then supposedly you're ready to go. We're learning together. Anyways, I'll be back as soon as it's done draining this, and it'll be like no time to y'all, but it takes me a little bit of a while to get this complete, but we'll get there. Okay, so we've just completed round 2. You can see quite a bit of water comes out. The purified tank is empty, and the reservoir is almost empty. One thing you shouldn't do in this specific iteration is to take out the purified water tank, which is this clear tank, while it's going through the process. Otherwise, it'll actually repeat the whole process, so you don't want to do that. Apparently, in the new version of this, which is going to be the go-to-market version of this, that is not going to be an issue. You'll be able to actually remove the purified water tank while you're purifying the water and use water that's in there instead of having to go through this process. So we are going to empty out this jug of water, refill the tank for our 3rd and hopefully final round. Okay, so I am adding the 3rd and last tank of water I believe I need to in this specific round of water. Oh, okay, look at that. So all of my choices have now appeared. So apparently it only needed 2, and this is the actual main cycle that gives you the water you're looking for. So I have a full reservoir of water, I have an empty purified tank of water, and I have my choices right here now, so that's really cool. Okay, so I believe it's going to need to complete the process of filling this up, and then it's going to give you the ability to select your choices here. So I will come back as soon as this reservoir is completely full, and we will see how our choices work. Okay, so we just finished up our 3rd and final cycle. The freshwater tank is now full. Still a little bit of water left in here. What's interesting is Okay, I thought all the lights had turned off. Now I suppose I can select the size I want. So this looks like it's going to be regular actual water, regular room temperature drinking water. It's a little warmer than room temperature, but pretty much room temperature. You can see it draining from the reservoir right there. That's going to be about 12 ounces of water. There's no drip catch down here on the bottom, so you just got to be aware of that. And it's continuously trying to fill up once you use water with whatever water's left inside of this reservoir. Okay, so looks like we're full here. The reservoir still has some water in it right there. It's not making any noise. Let's try hot water. Okay, it looks like we're... Okay, there we go. I had to unlock it, so now we should get some pretty hot water coming out of here. Definitely tell it's hot. You can see the steam coming off of it. Certainly pours slow. It almost pours too slow. I mean, it's filling up, but it's coming out very slow. Now the water is definitely hot because I do see the steam coming from it. It's pretty cool. I mean, it is giving you reverse osmosis purified water, which is nice. Still, it's going to take a little bit of learning on my part. They did not actually send this to me with any instructions, so I've in essence had to kind of learn everything, and then I sent them an email the other day saying, do you have a manual for it? Because I felt like maybe I threw the manual away, and then they confirmed that there was no manual for it yet. So, yeah, wow, that is very warm. Now let me try something here. So, before it refilled from the water that was inside of here, now I'm going to just unlock it and see if I can pour more hot water. Okay, so that's all I needed to do. I just had the system locked. I need to unlock it before it lets me pour more. And it takes a little bit, and again, there's no tray underneath it, so if it's down here, you're going to see water kind of splashing up against the back here the whole time it's filling up, and that's not ideal. So it would be nice if it came with some type of maybe something to hold your cup or something to catch the drops, because the way it's dribbling out right now is going to cause it to splash regardless of what's underneath it. Yeah, the water splashed on my hand a little bit. It is very hot. But again, this is the price you pay if you want reverse osmosis in a countertop setup. Very cool. I mean, I love the setup. I love what it looks like. I love what it's capable of doing. The process, not so much. That's the one area I'd have to give it like a C if I was giving it a letter ranking. But from a, convenience factor, well, it's hard to say, because if you are looking for reverse osmosis water in an RV and you don't want to have to plumb a whole system in that takes up room, this is pretty convenient, especially considering you can turn the nozzle this way and I can, put my cup over here and set this in the corner and it won't take up much room at all. What are your thoughts? What do you think? I don't have a lot of information about it other than what I've been able to try to figure out on my own without an instruction manual and, trying to follow the process that they sent me. It is a bit of an inconvenient process, I gotta admit, but I don't have to install a huge system, so that's kind of the convenience side of it. It's not requiring me to drill through the countertop or anything else, so that in itself might make it worth it to some. But at the end of the day, this is a pretty cool system, I gotta admit. What are your thoughts? Guys, I don't have a lot of information again at this point, but as soon as I get more, I will share it with you all. If you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.